Naglag ng DILG Secretary na si John Vic Remulla ang National Security Advisor na si Secretary Eduardo Año, maging ang National Defense Secretary na si Gibo Chodoro, ang dalawang taong may kinalaman sa pagpapaaresto kay former President Rodrigo Duterte. Sa isang live telecast at interview ni John Vic sa Bilyonaryo, sinabi nitong 4 na tao ang key person sa pagpapahuli sa dating Pangulo. Bukod sa kanya, kahit itinanggi raw ng Pangulo, tila ito ang isa sa mga pasimuno kung bakit nagkaroon ng pag-aresto kay former President Rodrigo Duterte. Kasama rin nila ang National Defense Secretary na si Gibo Chodoro, maging ang National Security Advisor na si Eduardo Año, kapwa malapit sa mga Duterte at kaibigan pa ng former President. Dito naging balang taong bayan dahil sa kabila ng pagtitiwala sa kanila ng dating Pangulo na hindi isusuko ang soberenya ng bansa. Nagawa raw ito ni Gibo at Año. Dahil dito, naglabas ng sama ng loob ang taong bayan sa lahat ng mga tila ginawa nila sa former President. Si Secretary Año ang isa sa mga nooy pinakapinagkakatiwalaan ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Naging kalihim ng Department of Interior and Local Government at Chief of Staff ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Gayon din ang Secretary na si Gibo Chodoro, kung saan inendorso pa ng mag-amang Sara at Rodrigo Duterte noong tumakbong senador last 2022 election. Ngunit ang pinakamasakit nga raw para sa kanila, hindi nila aakalaing tatraydo rin ng mga pinagkakatiwalaan at itinuring na kaibigan ng pamilya Duterte ang dating Pangulo. Narito ang nakakabiglang revelasyon ni Secretary John Vic Remulla, kung saan tahasang sinabi sa publiko na hindi isa, hindi rin dalawa, hindi 3, kundi 4 na tao ang tila nagtulong-tulong para arestuhin ang former president na si Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Taong bayan, tinawag na traidor sina Secretary Gibo at Secretary Eduardo Año. Narito't panoorin ang full video.
Siya po ang ating totga noong 2010 or the one that got away noong 2010. Si former Defense Secretary Gibo Chodoro, and this time around, he will not be the one that got away dahil sa tulong nating lahat, magiging senator siya. Ikaw na ang number 1 namin sa balota.
Ay, salamat Mayor Inday at salamat po sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta. The one that was captured na sana or the one that can help.
Kababayan ko, nandito si Gibo, kilala ninyo. Mamili lang naman kayo ng senador, kunin na ninyo ang the best. Gibo, Tudor, Gibo na lang. Okay na. Maligaya na ako sa Gibo. Huwag mong kalimutan. Utos ko yan, sana naniwala pa sa akin.
Si Gibo Chodoro po, number 57 sa balota.
The plane, the Gulfstream 550, is that correct? This is chartered by the Philippine government?
Yes.
Okay. So when Vice President Sara Duterte made a statement of the Philippines handing out its own citizen to a foreign power, I wanted to ask you, Secretary, does that make her factually correct? Because in the end, people were wondering, did the Philippine government arrange for the plane? Kumbaga tayo ba ang nagbigay?
Yes.
Or, okay, go on, Secretary.
Yes. The plane is chartered by the Office of the President. We brought them straight to the Netherlands.
Consistent naman tayo. Hindi tayo tumutulong sa investigasyon ng ICC. We didn't help them in any way.
So, ikaw ho ba nagplano ng lahat ng ito?
Hindi naman. It was a group effort. Secretary Chodoro was there. Secretary Año was there too. And the President and I. Because Secretary Chodoro was working out of his office sa Camp Aguinaldo. Secretary Año, of course, his specialty is intelligence. So he was gathering all the information.
Was it a little odd or hard, I guess, for Secretary Año, sir? Knowing that, of course, he was
I think so.
part of the
I think
administration.
he still shares some affection for the former president. They had a very good working relationship. But he's a professional, he is a soldier, and he's a gentleman. So he served this role, and the information that he gathered and shared was very reliable, and
Such as, or is there
such
anything you can share?
as the conversations on whether or not they would go home. I think the lawyers were prevailing for him to stay in Hong Kong or in China, and the children prevailed on him to go home.
Ibig sabihin, yung mga lawyers po sinasabi kay dating Pangulong Duterte.
Parang gano'n ang lumalabas sa mga sources. Sources ni Secretary Anyo.
Opo. And he relayed that to the core team. So the core
Yes.
team is the president. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to start with this because there was supposedly a policewoman, a member of the Special Action Force, that
Yes.
was hit by a cell phone on the
Yes.
forehead. Let's play that video. Maybe you can help us. What happened? Bakit ba nagkagulo dito?
I think that was the time that they were informed that he was going to be brought to the plane already. And the weird thing is that she was offered to ride the plane with him.
You're talking about the partner, Hanilet.
Yes,
Oh,
she was
okay.
offered, and she refused. And when he was being asked to go to the plane, she suddenly threw a fit.
Kaya dito po is yun po, yung isa sa miyembro ng staff
Yes.
ay tinamaan po sa
Yes.
forehead, no?
If you notice, lahat na nakapaligid kay
Babae.
Presidente, babae. We didn't want, ayaw namin na mga lalaki ang pupersahin siya. Baka kalad ka rin siya, kung ganun. Kaya babae talaga ang nakapaligid sa kanya.
Sinadya po yan.
Yes, sadya yun.
How many policemen were deployed in this whole everything, sir, from the airport to Villamor to Camp Crame?
Oh yeah, it's not as simple as the airport. So in the airport, we had 1,500 men. We didn't want a Ninoy Aquino scenario to occur, so we were very sure of the security. Sa Malacanang, there was another 1,000. In Crame, the usual lang ang Crame at saka yung veterans. So veterans are maybe 200.
Veterans dahil
Just in
kung
case that he
sakaling.
felt sick, may dadalhin siya agad doon. So,
And in Villamor, how many were there?
Villamor may be, kasi contingent sa airport yan eh. So 2,000 all in all in their Villamor premises.
I see. So I want to go back to that video, no? So when that happened, nagkabukol po yung staff na policewoman, and there was also a statement made by the spokesperson of the PNP, General Jean Fajardo, and she said this: lahat ng pagmumura, panlalait, tinanggap ng kapulisan, and they still managed to exercise maximum tolerance with all the policemen and policewomen that were involved in this. Were you happy? Were you satisfied
Oh yes, sino ba di matutukan yan?
with yung mga Duterte supporters?
Yan, kasi ini-expect mo na lalaban sila eh, na magkakagulo. But they all followed instructions, maximum tolerance, all courtesy given. They offered them, lahat ng accommodations na hiningi nila, binigay. Ano pagkain gusto nila. Humingi siya ng kama para magpahinga, binigay sa kanya. Aircon naman yung kama. He asked to see his lawyers, dumating naman. So, binigay naman sa kanya lahat ng courtesy.
Okay, when you say that, sir, yung mga abogado niya nasa labas ng Villamor Air Base, ayaw papasukin eh.
Ando doon si
ES Medialdea sa loob.
ES Medialdea.
Andun din si Attorney Delgra sa loob.
Yes, yes.
Pero meron pa pong ibang abogado. I guess that's what I wanna find out.
Hindi na pwede yun. There was an operational risk kung papapasok ka ng ibang tao pa. Everyone who was with him in his party arriving from Hong Kong were allowed to join him.
Media. What did the President tell you after? I mean, you spoke, the President spoke nung ano na po, in flight na po, lumipad na po yung aeroplano ni dating Pangulo, nalulan si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. What did he tell you?
His exact words were, "There's no reason to be happy. There's no reason to celebrate." Those were his exact words.
And how did you feel when he said that?
I think he remembered the days of 39 years ago when they whisked him out of the palace. And I think he felt a sense of deja vu or a sense of trepidation in him that something that happened to him, he's doing to someone else. He really didn't want to do it. You saw his voice during the press con. He was very tentative. He really didn't want to do it. It just thrust upon him. He's a very gentle person, and it's not his nature to do these things.
And he did it because?
He did it because he had to uphold the rule of law.
So, ikaw ho ba nagplano ng lahat ng ito?
Hindi naman. It was a group effort. Secretary Chidoro was there, Secretary Anyo was there too, and the President and I. Kasi Secretary Chidoro was working out of his office sa Camp Aguinaldo. Secretary Anyo, of course, his specialty is intelligence, so he was gathering all the information.
Was it a little odd or hard, I guess, for Secretary Anyo, sir, knowing that, of course, he
I
was
think so.
part of the
I think
Duterte administration?
he still shares some affection for the former president. They had a very good working relationship. But he's a professional, he is a soldier, and he's a gentleman. So he served his role, and the information that he gathered and shared was very reliable. And
Such as? Or is there
such
anything you can share?
as the conversations on whether or not they would go home. I think the lawyers were prevailing for him to stay in Hong Kong or in China, and the children prevailed on him to go home.
Ibig sabihin, yung mga lawyers po sinasabi kay dating Pangulong Duterte.
Parang gano'n ang lumalabas sa mga sources. Sources ni Secretary Anyo.
Opo. And he relayed that to the core team. So the core
Yes.
team is the president.